We can speak now to Iain Anderson, Executive Chairman of Cicero Group, and I think it's probably worth saying, Iain Anderson, that you do lobby for a living. You are a lobbyist, and therefore I'd be really interested on your perspective on, in terms of lobbying, what is covered by the law and what is not.
Well, this is the real problem with the Cameron lobbying laws, put into sharp relief by this story, Rebecca. They're so tightly defined that they only capture consultant lobbyists. So that's people like me. So that is really only about 5% of the lobbying that's actually taking place. They don't capture lawyers, think tanks, management consultants, business organizations, trade unions. I mean, the current legislation, the current lobbying register is a complete mistake. It completely misses the point. The only reason we found out that David Cameron is lobbying is because of some good investigative journalism.
So are you saying that if this company, Greensill, or perhaps even David Cameron, had paid you to lobby the Chancellor, you would have had to declare it, but if you do it privately, you don't? Is that essentially the essence of it?
That's exactly the point. And of course, it's a huge loophole because some companies decide that they're not going to transparently lobby, that they're not going to work through a open and ethical and well-governed regime, and therefore try and do this kind of trying to lobby government policy without people seeing. I mean, I think this story puts into really, really sharp relief the fact that the legislation that was passed under David Cameron's government back in 2014 is just not fit for purpose.
OK, I appreciate that you're saying there's a loophole, but I suppose people listening to you might say, well, it's in your interest to flag this up because at the end of the day, you want people to pay you to lobby on their behalf. Would that be fair?
Well, my response to that would be 95% of the lobbying that's taking place, people can't see unless there's a piece of investigative journalism. Now, in a democratic and open society, is that right? Yes, people can come and lobby with me and my business, but they can also kind of go and lobby themselves. To my mind, we need a register of lobbying and lobbying activity rather than a register of lobbyists.
Can I just take one step back, Iain? We're lobbying around this term lobbying. For people who are perhaps not familiar, I mean, how do you lobby government, be it informally or formally? How does it actually work?
Yeah, you're basically taking an argument to shape public policy. Now, that could be through a consultation, it could be meeting a minister, it could be meeting a special advisor, it could be meeting a civil servant. And this is also the problem with the existing lobbying legislation, that unless you meet a minister, so if you meet a civil servant, if you meet a special advisor, if you meet a senior member of the opposition, that's not covered by the legislation either. So we need a root and branch reform to the existing legislation.
Iain Anderson, Executive Chairman of Cicero Group.